Wait, what were we talking about in this video? Oh yeah, $169 garbage bags and $350 shovels. I can already hear people signing off on this video or clicking away in the comments. Oh well, f it, we're talking about it anyway. All right, you want it American made, should be made in America, made in the USA. Well, here you go, two products that are American-based companies. Let me zoom in, look, made in the USA. And there's going to be a price tag attached to that. But the real reason I would go with these guys every day of the week and twice on Sundays is for this reason. Last week I released a video on the cleanup efforts that we did over in the Big Bend region of Florida. And prior to me going over there to do the cleanup, I was speaking to these guys just randomly and I told them where I was going. And as soon as they found out that I was going to go do the cleanup, they said, let us send you some stuff to help with that cleanup. But here's the thing, they didn't even ask for content in return. They didn't send me stuff and said, you know, go do the cleanup and make sure you talk about our stuff. No, they said, take our stuff, go do the cleanup. And if you can, maybe do a couple of reels on the side and maybe take some photos, but that was it. Like they didn't even ask for a review video, which is why I'm doing a review video now, kind of as an appreciation review video for what they did for me. Now, I've worked with these two companies in somewhat of a smaller capacity before. With Overland Gear Guy, I bought the tool bags that they sold. I liked them so much, I ended up buying 4 of them, but I paid for those with my own money, did a whole review, did a whole video on it, because I really liked their products. I think they're high quality, and those bags that I bought were really affordable, like one of the cheapest bags you can get that's of that quality. Now with DMOS, you've seen the videos I've done for them. They've sent me like their more affordable shovels, like the sub $100 shovels, and they also sent me their rally bag, which I absolutely love, and I keep all the Overland Gear Guy tool bags in that rally bag. There's a video on that, you should go check it out. Actually, wait, there is one more company and I used their stuff during the cleanup too. Hold on. The good people at Midland. I mean, I've worked with Midland, I love Midland, and they're a top sponsor of this channel, which is why I'm gonna roll with them forever, because they even offered to give me radios to bring to the cleanup for anyone that may need radios when cell signal is down. Let's be real, you think Baofeng's doing anything like that? I mean, I hope they are, like legit, and if they are, you tell me, because I mean, they are a pretty big company with a pretty loyal fan base, and if they're helping out with hurricane relief efforts, like that would be awesome. I'm just saying, the more companies are involved in hurricane relief, the better. It's just, it brings this community together and focuses everyone on one major goal. Okay, I know, I'm rambling. We're gonna talk today about the gear that I brought with me to this cleanup, because it's cool when Overland gear can kind of cross over and into other uses, right? So not only is this stuff great for all of you who overland and camp and off-road, but these are also the kind of items you can bring to certain things like cleanup efforts. So let's start with the Overland Gear Guy spare tire trash bag. Now, before I talk about it, I will have to say this. I have this thing against trash bags mounted to spare tires. And the only reason I feel that way is because I bought a Trasharoo very, very early on, and God, I hated that thing. I hated putting it on, and every time I would try to tighten it, the buckles would just come off. I just started leaving it at home. I would literally just take my trash, put it on my roof rack until we get to an area somewhere where I can throw it away, and that's not a good place to put it. And so Overland Gear Guy offered to give me one for the cleanup, because obviously there might be things that we're gonna be throwing away. And I'm like, okay, I wanna try it out. And this was such a breeze to put on, and it was more secure. You have this one thing here that goes over the spare tire and holds it in place, and then while it's there, then you take the buckles and you bring it to the back, and then you go underneath and you adjust it however you want. But what made it great was that every time I tried to tighten it, these buckles wasn't pulling apart, and the Trasharoo one would. Plus on top of that, the way these buckle holders are, they're very secure. Like once you put them through this thing, like there's no way this thing is coming off. You can clean up the look of this thing where you have everything kind of tucked into place. You don't have all this dangly stuff like all over the place like I had before. And what I also really like compared to my Trasharoo before is that this thing is zippered into place. There's like a lip right here, and then the zipper is in there. So once you zip this thing up and put the lip over it, this thing is waterproof. There is a drain hole at the bottom, which is important because if your garbage bag inside happens to bust open and there were some juices in there, then some of it will come out through here, and then you can open this thing up, do a rinse on the inside, and it'll drain through and not collect inside and get all moldy and nasty. On the front, you have two pockets here. You can put trash bags in there for extra trash bags or whatever else you might need. I wish though there were some like MOLLE stuff on here, just where we can attach other things, or maybe a couple of pockets on the side. Like the thing I liked about the Trasharoo, the one thing I did like was that it had the organization like that. There were some net pockets at the bottom, which I didn't like because net pockets tend to break, but there were like little MOLLE stuff that you can attach stuff to, and there were like side pockets you can put things in. This one is really simple, which is kind of also the good thing. When it's simple like this, it looks cleaner. Like you don't have all this stuff kind of hanging off of your spare tire. It's just a nice, clean looking trash bag that when you put your trash in here and you zip this thing up and then cover this over, yeah, you're not getting any water intrusion in there. You're not gonna end up with smelly, wet garbage. Price-wise, this is a little bit on the higher end than what I've seen before. I think the Trasharoo is like 70 bucks. This is like 169. So you are paying a little bit more. The material feels more rigid though. It's not like cloth. And also it looks nicer, looks cleaner. Again, waterproof. Yeah, I mean, what else am I gonna say about a trash bag? I mean, it's a great trash bag, and it actually looks good on the Jeep that I've just kept it on there like permanently now. I'm a fan of spare tire trash bags again. I mean, for comparison, here's my old Trasharoo. I mean, look how humongous this thing is compared to the other one. But I do like that these have the MOLLE like straps on here. I don't like these too much, but I do use them because they're pockets and you can put stuff in there. But see, just a drawstring that doesn't even close all the way. There is a cool pocket here though too, which is nice. There's two drain holes at the bottom, much larger, but yeah, that's because you're not really getting a lot of waterproofness out of this. It better leak out at the bottom. Anybody want a used faded Trasharoo? All right, up next is one of the most unique, one of the most expensive, and definitely one of the most controversial shovels that's out on the market. This is the DMOS Delta Pro shovel. This comes in at a whopping $369. Now, there is a non-pro version that comes in at $269, but no matter how you slice it, that's one pretty expensive shovel. And DMOS knows this. DMOS embraces it. I kind of respect that about them. There's going to be people that's gonna want this shovel. If there wasn't, then they wouldn't be selling out as often as they do. Take the price tag out of the equation for a second and be honest. When this thing is folded up and mounted to the side of the rig, it looks pretty badass. Now take the looks out of the equation and this thing is actually a beast and has a ton of functionality for just a shovel. They have a patent. This thing extends just a couple presses like that and it's good to go, and then collapses right back down to a manageable size. Now inside you'll see that this thing is super reinforced. You got 1 to 12 rivets onto this thing, and then there are 3 positions that you can have this. You can have this as your regular spade, and then you can remove this little pin right here. That's pretty much what keeps it in place. Move it to the middle position, and now you have yourself a hoe. Who doesn't love hoes? And then finally, third position, take this right back out, and it folds up. And this is how it's mounted to the side of your vehicle. Now the non-pro version comes in two colors, red and this dark earth color that you see here. And the pro comes in four different colors. You have black, you have orange, you have red, and then you have this dark earth. The regular one, the blade comes in steel and the handle comes in aluminum, whereas the pro, this whole thing is like high grade aluminum. So it's gonna be a lot more lightweight for you. You'll also see that the foot pads right here, it's much wider so you can get your foot on there and really dig down. And the handle is also super grippy. On one side, it's basically just flat, so there's nothing there that's gonna dig into your palms. But on the other side, you have grips, so you can definitely get your hands in there and get to work. Now, you can mount this to any kind of mount that you have. I mean, you can even use quick fist if you'd like. But if you really want to take advantage of the functionality and the design of this thing, then consider getting the Delta shovel mount as well. The Delta shovel mount just kind of puts this in place like nicely, and it's fitted just for this shovel. Now the Delta shovel mount is really easy to install. On the back of it, there's a bunch of mounting holes, so wherever you want to put this, you can put it. Now, I already had holes on that side of my hardtop because that's where I mounted my water port before, so I just reused those holes for this shovel mount. I used some washers to kind of reinforce that area, and then I used some RTV silicone so that water is not seeping into the cabin. Now on the other side, I used these brackets that came with the shovel mount. It comes with two, but I only ended up using one, and it just adds a lot more rigidity. And you can put a lock on it if, you know, you're worried about that type of thing of somebody stealing your $370 shovel. Yeah, it's expensive, but it looks badass and it functions badass. I mean, is it $370 badass? I mean, well, that's up to you. I mean, there are people who paid the same amount for a pair of Max Tracks, and you're probably gonna use a shovel more often than you're going to use recovery boards. And then finally, another piece of gear that was instrumental in this cleanup, comms. Whether that's our walkies like this is the GXT 3000 from Midland, or the MXT 575 radio unit that I already have in the vehicle. Having communications during the cleanup was vital. We were going around town and we had a bunch of rigs there, and we were able to communicate to each other from across town, and we were able to let each other know who needed help, who needed what, and we were able to communicate that way versus making phone calls. And especially, they got their power back when we got there. They got their cell service back when we got there, but had we gone there maybe a week before, then there probably wouldn't be cell signals still, and we would have needed our comms even more. Now, I'm not going to go into a full review on these products just because I've done a ton of Midland reviews already. If you want in-depth stuff, go look through my archives. I've done reviews on these, the GXT 3000, the GXT 67 Pro, the MXT 575, the MXMC01. Like, I've done so many Midland reviews already that it would just be redundant for me to talk about it again. This is, however, a good time to do a quick PSA that if you don't have comms already and you live in like hurricane prone, blizzard prone, tornado prone, forest fire prone areas, have some comms in your kit. I don't care if you don't overland or camp or go off-road or do anything outdoorsy, just have some comms. When I went over to clean up at the Big Bend, it wasn't a big town. So no matter where all of our rigs went, we were able to communicate and talk to one another. Imagine how handy that would have been after the storm had hit them and there was no cell signal at all, and you had family members leaving your house to go grab stuff. I mean, honestly, after that cleanup, I just kept thinking about that I hoped that basically every household in that city had some sort of way to communicate with one another when the entire power grid went down. Have comms, is all I'm saying. But these were the things that helped with cleanup, like a shovel, the garbage bag, and of course, some communications. If I'm being completely transparent though, I didn't get to use these the way I thought I was going to use them. I thought I'd be using the shovel a lot more than I did. I thought I'd be using the garbage bag a lot more than I did, but mind you, when we got to that area, this was about, I don't know, 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene had hit. And when we got there, a lot of that garbage and rubble and things like that had already been cleared out. So there wasn't much for us to necessarily clean up. We were there to do all the other tasks that people were still needing help with, like cutting down trees or helping a guy move stuff from his capsized boat over to a storage unit. And so I didn't really have to do hardcore stuff by the time I got there. I wasn't having to dig things out or throw things away because a lot of that had been cleared. But that doesn't change my mind on how I feel about these three companies that helped out. Midland, DMOS, Overland Gear Guy, like these guys they jumped at the chance to help when I hit them up and let them know what I was doing without question and without needing content in return. Just sent me whatever it is that I might possibly need. Point is, people can say whatever they want. They can say, hey, I would never spend that. That's fine. You don't have to. Like, use your money how you want to use your money. Like, you know your budget. But if you just happen to like this stuff and you happen to have the budget for this stuff, have at it. If the shovel you have works great, if the garbage bag holder you have works great, or you have a radio with another company that works great, that's great. But for me, what these guys did, I will be loyal to them just for that, because sometimes that's the biggest thing when it comes to the products, is the people and the company that stands behind it. But anyway, that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you don't smash, clean up that like button, subscribe to our channel, click that notification bell so we can let you be aware of new videos when they come out. And if it moves you, support us on Patreon. It gives you access to all of our videos before everyone else and gives you access to our live streams when we do them. And as always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at, let's use this. Let's see. Burden 4601. My name is Asia Sampson, and I will see you next time. How was it like 80 degrees in the middle of the day today, and now it's 50 degrees outside and I have to wear a hoodie? My body is so confused as to how to feel right now. But hey, as long as the cold weather keeps away those hurricanes, I'm all about it.